want to start with Manchester United. Rob, you were there last night at Molineux. This is a weird one because our notes say on the mend or a false dawn for Manchester United. You could argue both. Is the glass half empty or half full right now with United?
What? I mean, I honestly don't know, and I ended up writing that in the report from last night. In that it was a really, really difficult game to make sense of. But then, if you look at United's entire season, the entire season has been quite hard to make sense of. So maybe this is just where United are at. You know, there were quite a lot of positives last night, I thought. You know, Rashford coming back into the team and scoring. Højlund has now scored in 3 consecutive games. They look a little bit more dangerous going forward. But again, though, you've got this situation where they look so vulnerable in periods of games, and did so against Wolves last night. You know, even at half-time, they looked... There were people in the press box saying that this is probably United's best half of the season. This could be their best performance of the season. And then in the space of sort of another half an hour, they're collapsing. And they get to the point where out of nowhere, it looks like they're going to drop points and draw the game, and then somehow have gone down the other end and scored a great goal, but somehow have found this winner from somewhere. So does it tell us anything really about Man United? No. Was it really entertaining and great for neutrals? Yes. You know, maybe it's just one of those. We just have to put it down to one of those games.
Yeah, we'll get Janusz's take in just a second. First, I want to hear from Erik Ten Hag and his thoughts after that late show last night.
Be honest, I had mixed feelings. And so one side was very pleased. Of course, it's a massive win this. And I think for a neutral fan of spectator from this game, it was great to see. But as a manager, when you dominate the game for an hour, and you should have gone up with 3-4-0 by an hour, because we had the chances and we conceded nothing. But then the way we concede the goals, we should manage that better on the pitch, and this can't happen.
Janusz, I'm going to let you choose. With regards to Manchester United, is your glass half full or is it half empty?
I'm on the positive side here on this one. Okay. I'm going to change my tune a little bit. I mean, there's going to be some negativity coming in. Not so much negativity, but because I'm still not absolutely convinced about Ten Hag. What I mean by that is I think if Ten Hag stays out of the way of this team in a certain way, I think can succeed. Look, I think this was a very good 60 minutes. I mean, we haven't seen that. We've seen fullback getting involved and Luke Shaw on that second goal, but just in general, I saw a team that not only possessed, but dominated good opposition, right? Because against Newport, obviously they dominated as well. And right after halftime, they conceded and ended up being 2-2 at some stage, which against opposition like this, is unacceptable, even though ultimately they won that game. Here, they dominated a team that, if I remember correctly, in the first game at Old Trafford, deserved to get something out of the game, if not win it against Manchester United. It's not going to be easy, of course, but I think there's something there. I see the culture, as I've said it before. I think everything that's happening off the field and now what's starting to happen, there's an inkling of something on the pitch as well. It's just that, and of course there could be justifications. So hindsight is a great thing, but you know, his substitutions, his negativity towards the end, right? Although McTominay substitution worked, but you know, the one of Anthony and the one very, very late of Evans. I mean, he doesn't have to feel like he owes something to Maguire and Evans because they carry the team through, right? I mean, top teams, when you control the game, keep these players on the pitch. And I know you can tell me you have to manage Lisandro Martinez, you have to no, look, when things are going well, you possessing the ball, you dominate, you're not tired. When you have the ball, you don't get tired. So this is not the first game. When you look at this, and I know substitutions these days obviously are being used because you play more than 90 minutes, but I thought he almost said with all these substitutions, things are not going well, let me protect this, rather than say Rashford, who was playing well. I mean, he could play towards the end. Garnacho, you know, yeah, it's 92nd minutes, but why? So that worries me a little bit. As you all know, I'm not as big a fan of Erik Ten Hag going forward in the rebuild than, you know, as I once was.
You mentioned Marcus Rashford there. Rob, you've written an article for ESPN FC basically about Rashford at a crossroads. Where does he go from here? Because unlike Jadon Sancho, he's back in the team. He got his goal, but it wasn't quite the reaction that Manchester United fans usually give him when he scores.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he has been, often throughout his United career, been very, very popular. He's from Manchester. He's been at the club since he was 7. He's a type of guy that the fans really like to get behind. But what supporters don't like is any kind of indication that the commitment is not there. That the players don't care as much as the fans do. And I think that's what a lot of fans have maybe taken away from that trip to Belfast last week and missing training because he was ill. That you've seen a lot of stuff on social media, even stuff from match-going fans who are saying that they've reached a point where they possibly think that it's time to let Rashford go, and that really is the first kind of inkling among the fan base that it's time maybe for Rashford to go, because really he should be the poster boy of this new era under Sir Jim Ratcliffe and whoever the manager is going forward. Obviously, Rashford is going to stay now until the end of the season, and really, I don't want to say that the jury's out. I think he's got to impress on the pitch. I think he's got supporters to win over. Obviously, there's concern from within the club about some of his behaviour away from football and what he gets up to when he's not at the training ground. They want to see the level of commitment that they think top athletes need to have in order to succeed. They are desperate for him to succeed at Man United. But you can't keep trying with players forever and ever and ever. There has to reach a point where maybe you have to say, it's best for all parties to go separate ways. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's where we're at right now, but it seems a lot closer now than perhaps it was a year ago or 2 years ago.
Say it, Rob. It's time. Say it, Rob.
But it may reach that point. I'm not suggesting it may reach that point, which it was probably unimaginable to say that a couple of years ago.
But is it fair? Is it fair to say that it is? You know why it's fair to say? Look, I once said here that Marcus Rashford, when he was in his pomp, it's easy to say it then, and it's probably easy to say what I'm going to say when things aren't going well now, right? But when he was playing well last season, I mean, if you just look at what he's got, he's capable of playing on any team. But the thing to flip that now, not that I'm flipping, but just watching him closely, he needs a perfect environment. He's not a grinder. He only plays well in a perfect environment when things are going well for his club and most importantly for him. And that's the difference between great players, good players, and not, and bad players. And I'm putting him in the middle. That obviously he's got the talent. We've seen it. He can do it. But in order to be on that top shelf of footballers, where he's got that kind of talent and the abilities to maybe get there with everything that you've said, be it commitment, whatever it may be, but it's just not there. And I think, this is a massive rebuild, as we've said it before. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's coming in, and you have a new CEO coming over, Omar Berrada, right? I think his name is. So obviously they're making a commitment. They're taking some positive steps. Things are looking a little bit better on the pitch. Let's wait and see. But I just don't know if Marcus Rashford is one for a grind. And let's make zero mistakes here. For Manchester United, this will continue to be a grind to come to a level of, say, Manchester City or Liverpool.
Okay, let's get predictions for Sunday. It's Man United against West Ham. West Ham have won the last 2 meetings, but they were both in London, although West Ham did win in the Cup a couple of years ago. Rob, it's a game between two sides that are very difficult to predict right now. So predict, please.
Predict. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I wouldn't even really know where to start. My gut says that Man United will hopefully build on that win at Wolves and win. They will concede because they always do, but I think they'll score goals. So 3-1 Man United.
Janusz.
Yeah, Manchester United, 2-0, 2-1. I think they will continue. This is a time all good teams will have a period like this. We can't forget about what's happened up until now. And I'm not going to give Manchester United an out, if they go on a good run of winning 5 or 6 games, but they will beat West Ham at home.